Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we've made a little bit of progress on the engine. We've got the LS2 timing chain dampener, new chain, the new cam bolt, torque to 52 foot-pounds. Timing is set. I reused the old oil pump. I know you guys are gonna be like, oh wow, why? I had okay oil pressure. It was 62 psi cold and about 35 to 32 on a hot idle with the oil temps at like 220. And then plus, I'm blocking that right there. I'm blocking that off. It'll bump my oil pressure a little bit. And the plus the L99 motors, they come with, I believe, a high volume pump as it is already. So I should be okay with that. But as you see here, we got head studs. We have ARP rod bolts, which you're not going to be able to see right now. I have, where are they? These are ZL1 Camaro motor mounts. I've replaced the camshaft retainer plate, which is this. How you can tell if you need to replace this, guys, if you take a look at that orange seal and you get it perfectly flat, you see how it doesn't stick up from the plate. That's how you know you need to replace it. But this video, I am gonna show you guys how to do a trunnion upgrade for your rockers. So this here, I've already done it to a couple of rockers here, just so I can get a good basis for how to do it. So here's your stock rocker and your stock trunnion. You see how you're limited here. You can't rotate any further than this. That's not the only reason why to upgrade either. These caps separate and they release needle bearings. Kind of like a, I'll show you with the ones I've already taken off here. So here's your cap. Here's your bearing cap. Just like a drive shaft, you know how they got the U-joint bearings? Well, see if I can get this apart. Now you see those bearings in there? These caps will actually start to separate. And then those bearings, they go flying. See how that came out? So they go flying out of there. Not good. You don't want that in your engine. So I looked it up. A lot of guys are showing ways of doing this with arbor presses, you know, spending an extra $40 for an arbor press at Harbor Freight that you're not going to use again, probably. Using a hydraulic press from Harbor Freight, it's like $200-300. And probably, you might use that for ball joints and things like that again, but if you don't got the money right now, or you just don't feel like going and getting it, you know. So I'm going to show you guys a different way of doing this. Let me pause here real quick. I'm going to set up the tripod. I'm going to try and zoom in and get you really good view of my hands and what I'm doing. For headphone users, be aware, once I set up, it's going to get loud. There's going to be beating and banging. For tools wise, you're going to want something like this. This is a brass head hammer. It's softer than the rockers, so it's not going to do any marring or damaging. This is a 7/8 socket. This is an 18mm socket. And this is a 1/2-inch socket that's tapered up top. The reason I'll show you why we're going to need these in just a minute. You're also going to need a set of snap ring pliers. These are like $5, $6 at Harbor Freight, and they come with little different attachments. Comes in handy, does their job, and they're cheap. So I'm going to pause here. Let me grab the tripod. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so we're set up. Unfortunately, this is kind of sketchy. So I might end up knocking the camera down. Let's hope not, but I guess we'll see. So I hope you guys can really see this. If not, I'm sorry. I wish I could zoom in here while recording and show you. But if you look at your rockers, you'll see here that you have 2 ears right here. And then on the other side, you don't. These ears are what you're going to want to put down on your socket. This is where your 1/2-inch socket that's tapered comes into play. You're going to want the socket that you're going to be hitting these out with to be smaller than the rocker body. You only want to hit this bearing. And so what I'm doing here is this. You take your brass hammer. You can use a dead blow too. It won't hurt. And headphone users, right here's where you beware. Two hits. It's out. It'll leave a bearing cap behind. If you look inside the socket, you can see the old trunnion and bearings are in there. I'm dumping those into a container. And here's your empty rocker body. So what I'm doing is, here are your new trunnion bearings. They have a little cap inside of them. So what I'm doing is, I'm taking that bearing, placing it in the rocker arm itself. Let me get this stuff out of the way. I'm holding the rocker shaft here. I'm sorry, the rocker arm, and just tapping it in. And it's in. Do you see how it's flush with the body? So then, you come over to your new trunnions. There. You unwrap them. And see how the cap in there? You want to line up this trunnion with that cap in the center, and you just give a push. You'll feel the cap slide out. Push once it slides through. Boom. Then what I like to do, you take the rocker body, you put it back in the socket. You take another new trunnion bearing. I like to use the closed end, leave the open end up. Push it down, pull that off. Take your hammer, tap it flush like this. See how that is? Then you take your 18mm socket, place it on top of that bearing, and tap it. Now if you look, you'll see that bearing there isn't as flush as this one. That's not a problem. I'll show you how to fix that in a second. What you do is you take your C-clip, grab your snap ring pliers, and you put it on the rocker trunnion. Make sure you're locked in fully. Inspect it all the way around. You take your other side here, put your clip in, just like this. Got your clip in, locked in. Inspect it, make sure you're fully locked in. Now this is how we're going to solve that issue of it not being centered. You take this and you just, with the clip in, couple of good whacks, and you're centered. So this, and then what I like to do is roll it around, make sure everything's nice and smooth. As you can see, we're good. So now, move on to the next one. It's the same process. You guys will get really good at this by the 4th or 5th rocker in. Here's your 1/2 inch. Take it, set it in there. I know this angle sucks, guys. I wish I could get you closer. Get it locked in there like so. Let me see if I can get this centered. Trying to take it easy on that. Had a feeling I was going to get my finger. So, yet again, there you go. Same old. Throw that over there. There's your old trunnion bearings. Boom, boom, same process. Take that. We're in. Flip it, grab a new trunnion. Again, take it. Again, make sure you line it up with the needle bearings and the inside of the rocker. As you push, you'll feel if you're not lined up, and then you shove it through. Boom. Again, grab another new bearing. Stick it down over the trunnion. Put the trunnion in the socket. That's crucial for the new bearing, for the other side to get tapped in. Smack it in a little even. Socket. And now, ready for snap rings. So, put your snap ring in, get yourself all lined up. You should hear an audible snap. That's why they are called snap rings. It doesn't matter which way you put these snap rings in either. They're not like side specific or anything. If you run into something like this, where you can't get your snap ring, okay, that one locked in, but if it looks like you can't get it locked in, you are supposed to have side-to-side movement. See how this one doesn't have any? And it's because this bearing on this side's out a little, and that one is as well. So then that's when you go back to your socket, stick it in here, give it a tap with both C-clips in. Tap that in. If you look now, we have side-to-side play. You have to have side-to-side play. Your valve train has to have a little bit of room to figure out what it wants to be. That's another done. So I'll complete another 2 in regular time. And then after this, to finish off the other set, the other side, I'm going to do a time lapse and I will show you. So, but before I do that, here's a comparison of the stock trunnions to the new upgraded trunnions. As you can see, you can rotate all the way around with the new, and with the old, that's all you get. So like I said, I'll do these 2 on camera, normal speed, and then we will go for a hyperlapse. A lot of times, a lot of videos I was watching shows the arbor press or hydraulic press, which if you use the arbor press, it's not a bad idea. It works great. The hydraulic press is the one you really want to be careful with, because you can damage the rocker body, the new trunnion bearings, the new trunnion, if you're not careful and you don't know what you're doing, and if you've never used one of those presses before, or you're not very experienced with those presses. There's one pull on those while everything's tight. If you're in there wrong, and you'll split a rocker body, you'll crack a trunnion bearing. You can mess things up easily. Now, say you get a snap ring, snaps in perfectly fine on both sides, but you just want the bearing, the trunnion bearing, to be a little more flush. You can still do the same thing. Give it a little tap. good whack. If it doesn't do it for you like that one, boom, do it again. That one's good. Trunnion kits do come with new bolts as well. You cannot reuse, at least with all the kits I've seen, you cannot reuse your original bolts. They come with a Allen style head bolt. Ooh, let's make sure we got that centered on the socket. Okay, good enough, guys. You could probably one whack hit this and be good to get them out. Hey, maybe same with getting them in. Who knows? It all depends on your focus. That one's in. Do our last trunnion for our normal speed here. Got an NGK spark plug coming out from the shelf there. Rolls really nicely. Let's get our snap rings. Like I said, make sure you inspect these guys. Make sure they are locked in. Last thing you want is one of these clips popping off, going into your motor, because eventually it'll beat the bearing out of the rocker as well. And if you have something like this, here's a great example. See how the groove? Let me see if I can get you in there. See how that groove? I could not get this snap ring on there properly. So that's when you take your rocker, put it back in the socket, you tap the other side, and gives you the clearance you need. So now I can put my snap ring in. It's locked in. There's the snap. And let's say, for a perfect example here, how I tapped that one, it's a little bit in. You can flip the trunnion or the rocker over. See how that bearing is out? You can actually take it, give it a couple good whacks, and it'll bring that bearing back out, sink that one back in. You can also play with them back and forth and center them. Right there. That's a good set of centered bearings. So, this is where I am going to start the hyperlapse. It'll probably be like a 10-15 second hyperlapse. So, after that, I'll come back in and we will talk about a couple different things that I seen with the video, with certain other techniques that I've seen. So, here's that lapse. Alright guys, so just finished up with all of the rockers getting their trunnion upgrades. Not hard at all. I'll show you stock bolts versus the trunnion bolts. So here are your trunnion bolts, the new ones. They're looks to be hardened with a Allen head. And then there's your factory. They're 8mm factory. As far as head to mounting surface, it looks like it just gets rid of that little locator there. So be very careful putting these in. Put them in by hand. That way you don't cross thread them. That would suck. You don't want that. Other things I've noticed with other things, installations. Your trunnion upgrade kits do come with black washers. They are designed to fit around the trunnion so you can smack them in and get your bearings flat. I don't use them simply because I've split them in half, and when you split them in half, it sucks. So these typically get split in half. You can use yours. I just don't use mine. I've done trunnion upgrades before. I haven't had an issue doing it this way. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's not hard to do. So, other than that, I guess we could do a little walk around here. Still got everything sitting over here. My garage is an absolute disaster. Every time I do a big job like this, my stuff goes everywhere. So I've got my Taylor 10.5 millimeter racing wires here. My fuel 1000cc injectors. So they're 95 pounds. Everything passed on these. These are 2500 degree spark plug boot covers for the headers. Since I am boosted, I am running NGK R5774-8s. I'm going to do some more research and see what I'm doing as far as spark plug gap on these once I go boosted. Kenny Bell Boost-A-Pump. That's got to get installed. There's a lot of controversy over if this gets wired up before or after the fuel system control module in these 2010 Camaro SS's. This is my Lingenfelter 245 hub and quick change hub and pulley. So I have to get that pressed on. Obviously, timing cover gasket. There's the bumper cover and the hood. Just still got to cut holes in the hood. That'll be the last thing. There is my K&N air filter system, which I am doing away with. I will probably use the shield, the shroud and shield, but that's it. What else do we got here? I think this box might be empty. Oh, nope. This is the supercharger's oil. I gotta fill that up, do that. What do we got in this bag? Hose clamps. Comedics. Header bolts. I have header gaskets. This is 12 feet of 3/4 heater hose. There's something really cool I ordered. They actually came in. These snap right onto the factory OEM ZL1 lid for the coolant hoses. I want to go AN everything with this build. It'll be the first time I've ever used AN fittings. Let's see. Who did I get this from? I got it from Schwartz Performance. So, and here is their email and phone number. I think these were like $100 for the pair. Kind of pricey, if you ask me, but it's worth it to me because it's going to clean up the look. I don't know if I'm going to run them both out this way or I'm going to run one this way, one this way. I wish that this kind of had the provision like the CTSV lid and everything was in the back. I could kind of, tuck it in and make it look like it's the heater core hoses. But, oh well, I can at least do it. And I like how the black anodization matches the whole theme I got going on with the supercharger here. So, supercharger's looking really, really good. As far as everything else, I did pull the stock torque converter out. My 3500 stall that my buddy built for me is now in. Other than that, it's a waiting game, really. So I'm going to cut this video here, guys. It's probably like a 30-35 minute long video. Anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, comment down below. If I missed something, let me know. As far as for the trunnion upgrade, if you want more videos like this as you guys know, I'm constantly doing engine builds, rebuilds, going through, just doing stuff because I'm bored. And now I'm starting to document in depth and in detail. So if you want to see more stuff like this, it'll be, Hemi related. It's obviously it's GM related. It's Ford related. It's basically everything, every year, make and model on the road. I've had my hands on it, and I'm gonna have my hands on it again. Trust me. But if you guys need to know anything, let me know. You know, subscribe, share, show all your friends. They might need help. They might need a suggestion, or make a suggestion, and I might make a video for them. So thanks, guys.